All right, and we'll bring you up, Andy. I'm gonna mute myself. Perfect. Okay, and then just remember to mute. Don't mute yourself on the computer, but mute. Just like press mute on your keyboard.
Got it.
Okay, and I'll make y'all moderators. And we'll get this shared out. Oh, and then I'll follow you. Awesome. And we're live on Facebook. We've already got 2 viewers. Awesome. Cool. I think we're ready to rock. How have y'all been today?
Good. How are you?
All good. Just busy. My parents fly in late tonight for Thanksgiving. We're going out to the ranch. Yeah, so I'm like in full on Texas, Andy, like ranches everywhere. Yeah, it's like a whole other world, but I love it.
Sounds fun.
I'll be back in North Carolina though for Christmas. I haven't been back in a hot minute, so I'm very excited about that.
We're gonna have to see you when you're here.
I know. I think we're just gonna have to plan it. I think I'll be there like the 23rd through the 30th or something.
I wish you could come for the Haas event.
What day is that again?
Next
Wednesday. Why
Wednesday.
don't you plug that?
Yes. So, Andy, are you making it?
I'm gonna try it. It might be tough. My calendar's really.
If you can, it's worth it. Haas is he's super tactical, straight to the point, and has super good info. Like, you go to some of these real estate events and they're just kind of like fluff, but his stuff is definitely not. I guess I'll start out really quick with an introduction. I'm Hallie Beeler-McCrory. I'm in San Angelo, Texas. I'm a realtor and team lead for Hallie's Homes here. I'm known for selling about 90 houses a year in a small town. And I'm super excited to have Andy on today. And I'll introduce my co-host, Casey Stiers, she's out of Raleigh, North Carolina, but works all of North Carolina. Big Moorhead girl.
He's my guy I refer to in Charlotte. So he's my good.
Yes, love it.
I'm her friend down the street.
Casey, do you want to introduce Andy since he's your friend there?
Yes, Andy and I met. I sent him a random message a few years ago. We were in the same group with Run Serhant, and I just seen what would happen. And ever since then, we've been referral partners, and hopefully we'll be able to put together a development project we've been working on for, I guess, 2 years. So, and Susu, and basically he's my go-to in Charlotte and anywhere on the West Coast. He has somebody pretty much everywhere. So
love it. I think you need to introduce Rocky too. I saw his little head peek in there.
Yeah, he was kind of being clingy today. He had a long weekend. So he went to the groomers today. He has a new groom. So.
Oh my goodness.
He's a handsome
Wait, you need to plug his Instagram.
So ready for.
What's his Instagram? Rocky the Realtor?
Realtor Rocky. Yeah.
Realtor Rocky. Okay. Yeah. Love it. Well, Andy, why don't you give our followers a little background on you? Like how did you get into real estate? And I saw that you're a Virginia Tech fan. Where are you from, Virginia?
So I grew up in Maryland actually and went to Virginia Tech.
Nice.
And had always been kind of interested in real estate. I studied finance at Tech. And basically my advisor, like guidance counselor, whatever you want to call him, told me that minoring in real estate as a finance major was not a good idea. I wish I knew who that guy was because I would love to go back and tell him how wrong he was.
I know, shoot.
Yeah. And so after graduating from school, I went and traveled the country for a nonprofit for a couple of years. I was working as like the nationals representative for my fraternity. And went to over 60 college campuses in 2 years.
It's crazy.
Just, living out of the trunk of a car on any couch or spare bed that I could find for 2 years.
Wow.
And now
super fun. Yeah, super fun. And it's definitely like I can't shower at the gym or anything because I did that too many times in those couple of years. And I'm like, I scarred.
PTSD.
Yeah. And so So basically got into real estate in 2014 when I moved to Charlotte. Got into commercial real estate. I had gotten my license while I was working for a commercial real estate brokerage company, and essentially was just working Monday to Friday, taking the class on Saturday, Sunday. I had no life. No one knew that none of my friends knew I even lived in Charlotte at that point because I wanted to just get this done.
Yeah.
And the difference between the type of world that I lived in at that point versus what I, now is in commercial, they're bred a different way and they look at residential in a very different light. And so because of the TV shows and the movies and all those kinds of things, the commercial guys have some interesting opinions of residential agents. And so, but it also, I mean, when I was getting my license, the weekend I went to go take my exam, the guy I was working with at the time literally told me, "Hey, Andy, good luck this weekend. And if you don't pass, don't bother coming in on Monday because you're not smart enough to be here if you can't pass on the first try." But dude straight up told me that the day before my exam.
Oh my gosh. You're like, thanks, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. And I guess it's one shot to try and make it happen. And so I was in commercial for about 9 months and then got into commercial financing because commercial brokerage is like residential. It's 100% commission. It is cutthroat. And I was 24 at the time and just didn't know what I didn't know. And I had no clue what I was doing and ran out of money. So I got into commercial financing with the hope of learning about one of the aspects of commercial that I just didn't know much about.
Mhm.
And with the idea of kind of pivoting from there into commercial development or some kind of asset management in the commercial
Right.
world. And then ended up meeting some residential realtors that actually treated their business like a business and
Mhm.
didn't just, sell a house or two a year like on TV.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, these are actually pretty impressive people. So I started interviewing more and more and got pretty intrigued by the opportunity and made the switch to residential in 2017 in March. So I kind of went backwards, went from commercial to residential, but it's been an interesting transition just because of the fact that I have that knowledge with some of the commercial history and with a finance background, bringing that to residential real estate versus just, your run-of-the-mill realtor.
Do you still do any commercial deals then, or just straight residential?
Yeah, I stay in my lane. I've got my commercial people that I call, and I like to sit in on some of the calls, and I like to, be a fly on the wall for some of the things that they're doing. But other than that, I don't want to get involved in the commercial deals because it's not my wheelhouse.
Yes, yeah, and it is time consuming and lots of liability with it. You just have to have a totally different brain when you go into thinking about that kind of deal.
It's like running a marathon. Like I've always said, commercial's running a marathon, not a sprint. So
the sports analogy that I always used was commercial real estate, like in baseball, commercial real estate. Every time you go up to bat, you're trying to hit a home run. Every single time you go up to bat, you got to hit a home run.
Yeah.
And in residential, you're just getting on base. And it doesn't matter how you do it, you just got to get on base.
Yep. So crazy. So you made the switch in 2017. Did you start out with EXP or was that a recent switch?
So I moved over in February. I was about to hit 5 years. I was at PW before.
Yes. Okay.
Started at Keller, started on a team, was on a team for 2 years, left the team, went solo for a year, brought in a personal assistant who helped. And then after about a year of having, it's like 10 months of having a personal assistant, I hired a director of operations as well. And then my assistant ended up shifting into an agent role, and she's been an agent with me for about a year and a half now.
Okay, that's very interesting to me. So what made you differentiate or stop and say, okay, I need an actual director of operations, like more than what made you stop and say that? And then two, what are the different roles that you had them doing?
I think I had more big picture ideas, and there were a lot more things that I needed to get done as far as executing projects and ideas versus can't, like, it's the difference between having someone who can help you work on the business versus someone who can help you work in the business.
Yeah.
And so that was when I made the realization that I needed to hire a director of operations or an operations manager. And it's been a huge help. And one of the big differences is she is local, but lives about an hour from town. And her big thing up front was, I am not going to be expected to have to be anywhere here.
Yeah.
So
this is your director of operations, not your assistant.
Correct.
And then the assistant was actually doing stuff like in
Putting
person.
lockboxes out, putting signs out, helping with showings if I needed it. Like anything I needed help with, she would help me. My director of operations, anything that doesn't require her to get into a car, she helps with.
Okay. So the assistant just did all the car stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. That's interesting to me because right now I have an assistant and I feel like she's both of those for me, but that's I think I just got lucky that way that we live about 5 minutes apart. I mean, and I'm in a smaller town. We've only got like 125,000 people here, so a little easier to navigate than Charlotte. And I know Charlotte traffic too. Just from going, like I would grow up going to swim meets there and whatnot at Mac Center. So yeah, I think it's just I was just curious though, because I do call her. I'm like, you're like my director of operations. So when you said that I don't know, just stood out to me. So I think, and I guess that would be like a hack for any realtors watching, like knowing when to, when you get to a point where you can't work on your business, like in versus on, and needing to at a certain point needing to hire an assistant to help you with those items. But then we haven't had anybody on saying differentiating between an assistant and a director of operations. So I think that was a good little nugget there. I'd love to hear about, for both of y'all, because Casey, I don't think you've talked about doing Serhant's coaching program either, and getting mentored by him. Andy, will you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, Andy took it a step further. He was like awful blown. I was just doing his course and stuff, and then we do the calls or whatever. What was it? It's calls like once a month, and Andy had somehow popped up as like request to be friends. I was like, you know what? He's in Charlotte. I could use a good referral person there.
Yes.
I have nothing to lose. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So
yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to sidetrack real quick. Can I tell the story about the one lady you sent me that said F you to me?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
You have to.
So I call Andy. I needed a referral in Boone, and I was like, Boone, Charlotte, not same area, but close enough. I felt like he knew somebody.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I've got the best person. She's a little aggressive, but she's good. She'll get the job done. I was like, okay, that's what I need. I need it quick. So I called this lady. She doesn't answer. I send her a text and said, hey, Andy Griesinger sent your name over to me for a referral. I need somebody in Boone. She responds with, she actually spelled out the word, but F you. And I was like, that's odd response to a referral.
That is odd when I'm trying to send her business.
So I wrote her back. I said, I'm really sorry you're having a bad day. I hope your day gets better. I guess I will check out a few things or, basically look around. I called Andy back and told him. She ends up calling me, and she is like really gruff and mean. She's like, what are you trying to sell me? I was like, I'm just trying to send you a referral. Andy gave me your name. He works out of Charlotte. She's like, I am so sorry. I'm not even going to try to lie my way out of this. I've just been scammed so much lately. I just was over it. And you were the first person I wanted to send that to see what happened. We actually ended up closing that deal 30 days later. So
that's awesome.
Oh my gosh, but it's so true.
I worked with her just because she was honest. She didn't try to lie her way out of it. She didn't try to make some stupid story up. She was just straightforward. Yeah, I sent it to you.
Yeah. So that's not a hack with how many texts we get for like health insurance every day and these like referral, like pay for leave.
Just don't respond to them. Yeah. That's the hack. Just don't respond.
Oh, I mean, if you think that's bad, about 2 weeks ago, I got put on a group text with 20 other realtors that are local with some person, and they send one text and they go, "Hope you guys have a great evening." And then they FaceTimed the group 20 times, like 20 plus times in a row, every minute. And so my computer is freaking out, my phone's freaking out, my iPad's freaking out, and I literally can't do anything. And all these agents are texting in this group chat, and it was unbelievably painful.
Oh my God.
So
I'm like, that's when I leave the group.
Happens to us every day. No, you couldn't because they didn't have an iPhone, or someone in the group didn't have an iPhone.
Oh no.
When there's green bubbles in a group text, you can't leave it.
The dang green bubbles. Oh,
Yep.
Oh,
It was awful.
But,
that is. Wait, Casey. James said Casey did the same thing to me when I asked her to be my sponsor.
He's picking on me. I'm like, are you serious this time? I did ask him. I was like, are you serious? Are you actually going to do it this time? Are you coming on this time? So
That is so funny. Okay, now I want to hear about Ryan Serhant. I mean, just like the funniest, most like eccentric, exciting guy.
He's very cool. So I joined the coaching program with him, I guess, 3 years ago now. And basically was doing what Casey was doing with all the different courses and whatnot, where you're watching a lot of videos, you're doing a lot of like Zoom calls with his team, and you're doing a lot of like workshops and things like that. And then so what happened was they offered a pro level of the program. And so for a certain amount of money, you could join the pro level. You get included in this private group. And it's like, at the time, it was less than 100 agents around the world. And part of what you get when you go pro, or part of the package, is you get a one-on-one meeting with Ryan. And they've since changed that just because they've gotten too big. And so things are a little different with the way that pro level program works now. It used to be a one-time fee. Now it's monthly, and you used to get the one-on-one meeting. And now I think you get access to be able to go to the dinners that he hosts, which, you still have to pay to go to the dinners, but you can still get a lot of FaceTime with him, which is cool.
Yeah.
And so I joined in September of 2020, right in the peak of COVID, right after he started Serhant. And so we actually got pretty lucky, and we decided to drive up because North Carolina was considered a hotbed at the time for COVID. And we weren't sure if we would be able to fly in and actually be able to get out of the airport or do anything. So we rented a car. I brought my video team, and we drove the 12 hours that morning, got there that night, got to our hotel. They handed us our key card and said, "Enjoy your stay. You're not allowed to leave your room because you're from North Carolina and you're from a hotbed state. So have fun in your hotel room. And if you leave, you will be kicked out."
Okay, then.
So we booked one night, and we left first thing in the morning, checked out of the hotel, went and got some lunch, went and met with his team, set up some of the cameras and everything. I had 5 cameras in that meeting. Like I wasn't messing around.
Yeah.
you have that video somewhere, don't you? It's on
Oh, yeah.
YouTube, isn't it? That
Yeah,
maybe you
I
can
could
put the
find
link
it.
in something so people can see it. So
Yeah, I can definitely find it. And so I went and met with him, and we met for about an hour and a half. And then I got a private meeting with his branding team as well for another hour or so, and got to really hang out there at the original Serhant house, which was kind of cool because, sorry, I'm looking up this video while I'm talking.
Oh, you're good.
It was neat because they basically were so new that I was able to really get a lot of their attention, because in 2020, a lot of the deals in New York City were falling through and not happening, and everyone was kind of sitting around and waiting to see what was going to happen.
Right.
And because Serhant was brand new, they had a lot more time that they could use to help focus on me and my business while I was there.
Right.
For some reason, this is literally not pulling up. So, but it exists.
Maybe I can try to find it while you're talking. That way you're not trying to do it at the same time.
Yeah. And so basically, I was able to sit down with him and just run through all of the holes in my business, all of the things that I needed help with, whether I had little questions for random little things or big questions and big picture questions, he he was able to help me with everything. And so it was really cool to have that in video form. It was cool to be able to have the notes that I took from that meeting and be able to start building that relationship. And so then Casey and I had met because he filmed with me a little bit afterwards for the program and started pushing out all these ads and things with me sitting there, and which is kind of cool. And that's how, I think that's how we met. And basically I get a lot of calls from that because I was there with him, but it's
I
neat
sent
to
you
be
a
able
random Facebook message.
Mhm.
I probably still have it somewhere. Oh.
So it was really neat to be able to do that. It was one of the coolest days of my real estate career because it gave me a lot of confidence moving forward. And then that night it was a Friday, and that night we met with another friend of mine that, I had been friends with this guy on Instagram for about a year, never met. And he lives in Jersey. And so we got dinner with him, big social media guy in the real estate space. So we went and got dinner with him, and then literally changed into pajamas in the parking lot of the restaurant and drove back to Charlotte in the middle of the night. We were literally gone for 48 hours. Drove all the way up to New York City, had a bunch of meetings, and came back, and we were gone. We left at 6 a.m. on Thursday, and we literally pulled in at 6 a.m. on Saturday.
Oh my gosh, worth it though.
We did. It sucked, the drive, but we made it happen, and it was a lot of fun. It was one of those experiences that will be very hard to ever replicate.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it. So
yeah,
it was really neat to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you showed up, you got there in any way you could, and it paid off for sure.
Mhm.
That's what counts.
Love the persistence.
Doing whatever it takes.
So, what was it like when and I guess this is a question for both of you guys. When you signed up with Ryan, was it like at a point where you thought you needed a coach or like a mentor, or was it, you saw the opportunity to be mentored by him and jumped on it? Or were you working with other coaches at the same time? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Casey, you want to go first, or you want me to go?
Yeah, I had just actually branched out and switched over to EXP and was building out my team. It's the reason why I wanted to get that right. And I had followed him, I felt like, since pretty much his day one.
Yeah.
Something about his personality. It takes a lot to hold my attention, and he's able to hold my attention.
Yeah.
My little ADD, bubbly self I am. So anyways, it was kind of a no-brainer for me watching someone build the way he built from the ground up. And I think that's how, that's one of the big things about me. Same thing with you, Andy, is people that build from the ground up, that things aren't just handed to them. Like mom, you know what I mean? You're doing this on your own. So I signed up for the course. I was like, it was like what, $49.99 or something at that point. I felt like I had nothing to lose. And at that point I was grasping anything and everything I could do to learn. So him and Grant were my two people that I was following big time and learning from. So, and then it led me into where I am now and knowing Andy, and we've done how many deals? So
a handful. For me, it was a combination of some of that, and then also I felt like I was at a point where I was beginning to plateau, and I wasn't okay with that. And then I started looking for some sort of a coach or an opportunity where I could learn, especially because social media is huge for me. Mm-hmm. Instagram has always been a main focus of mine, and so I wanted someone who had crushed the Instagram and YouTube and social media game. And honestly, he's the #1 followed brand in real estate worldwide. So why not try and learn from him and his people who make that happen?
Yeah.
So that was kind of why I went with that. And also, I'm a big believer in credibility boosting exposure opportunities. And then that exposure can help boost your credibility. And so being able to get face to face with Ryan Serhant and be able to show that to the world and show that to the people that are in my world that are following what I'm doing every day, was an incredible amount of credibility right then and there. And so
And
It
Andy,
was,
you kill it in the social media world. That was another thing that kind of driven me to want me to refer my business to you and work with you is your social media. Like, you kill that thing. You're amazing with it. So
Yeah, you've got over 17,000 followers on Instagram. That's kind of what I wanted to dive into next, was, your direction of, choosing to focus on Instagram. But I mean, I see you on other platforms doing well too. Did you have an interest in social media before, or did you just see that as the best avenue for you?
It was more like an opportunity. And so back in 2017, 2018, a lot of my clients and friends were working at banks, working at consulting firms, sitting at their desk every day. And I figured this was the best way for me to stay in front of them without having to go to their office every single day.
Yeah.
So it was a digital billboard to me. And that's where the mindset became, I need to get as many people following what I'm doing every day as possible.
Yeah. And
And
staying
then it
in
became
front
an
of them.
obsession.
Yeah.
it does.
So when you got started with Sirhant, like, where do you think you were follower wise on Instagram?
I'd say like 12,000.
12,000. And now
It's
you're
around
at
12.
now you're at over 17. What, I guess, for our realtors who are following, what are your best like tips, tricks, hacks for getting more? I would say probably engagement's more important now than followers, but I guess either or. What are your you don't have to say all of your tricks, but anything you can give to our audience?
There's a few things. I would say one of the big things at first is collaborating with people. So doing stuff like this, because when you're tagging people, if they post what you're tagging them in to their people, it will draw them into you.
Right.
Then from there, you want to make sure that you actually have a profile that is worth looking at and like gets them, not necessarily gets them excited, but like it's something where if they see that I get tagged in something that you guys posted about like this, then you go to my page and you're like, wow, this is clean. Like, this looks good. And then the last piece with that is always having some kind of stories up there, because that is the easy way to get people to start watching what you're doing without really asking them to do anything. Even the stories where you have the polls or the questions or whatever, you're still not really asking anyone to commit to anything. Like, if I post something, like most of my posts are videos now. And so when I post a video, like, I'm asking you to commit to watching that video and hitting the like button, and best case, then also commenting. But if you just go to my page and you look at a story and you just keep clicking through, I'm not asking you to do anything that's really non-committal.
Right.
And if you see something, if you are going to my page, looking at stories, and you actually think that there's something good on there, then chances are when you get out of that story, you're going to hit the follow button, and then you're in.
Love it.
So making sure you have a clean page that looks consistent, that's a big piece. And then collaborating with people is the other piece to that, because you want people to help you bring more followers in who you can engage with. And then when they do come in, you want to make sure that your page actually looks good and is worth having them stick around.
I'm going to post that. There we go. This is out of curiosity on my end. What is your strategy on hashtags? I feel like there's just a lot of different, feedback I see online. Like, you should use all 30, like you can use up to 30 hashtags, but like I've heard more recently, it's like 10 to 12. I've heard like 5 to 6. I've heard use all 30. What do you think has worked best for you?
That's a tough one. That's one that, like, I went and hung out with the broke agent last week or 2 weeks ago. And he literally was like, I asked him, like, I asked him the same question. Like, you're the pro, like, you're the one with the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. Like, what do you do? and he was saying that they're shifting more towards less is more.
Okay.
And niching down on them versus with TikTok where it's like you want broad. It sounds like with Instagram, you want a little bit more niche. You want a little smaller. Yeah, I mean, there he is.
I love it. Oh my God.
You're always dressed so dapper.
I know. I love his outfits. I was thinking the same thing when I looked at your Instagram.
But he had said that for Instagram, it's becoming a little bit better. Instead of just doing hashtag realtor, hashtag Charlotte, hashtag real estate, and then like 27 more that are like that, it's better to do Charlotte real estate agent, like things like that are a little bit more niche, because at the end of the day, what I try and think about when I'm posting hashtags is, what is someone who's sitting on their couch or sitting in an Uber, scrolling through Instagram, if they want to like Google a hashtag or search a hashtag, what kind of hashtags are they going to search? Like Charlotte is just going to be too broad. Charlotte, North Carolina is probably going to be too broad. But like Charlotte real estate or Charlotte realtor, if they're looking for someone, that's a little less broad.
Yeah.
So that's where I go more towards some of that now, where I'll do 3 or 4. And I used to have, I mean, I still have it, like a list of like the 30. And I basically, if you want a little hack, here's the hack for the day.
Yes.
You know how on iPhones you can do the text replacement?
Yes.
So I have a text replacement for the hashtag. So instead of having to go to a different app and copy and then paste, I have a text replacement where I can type in #T, like almost type in all of hashtag, and it will automatically populate all the 30 hashtags just like that while I'm typing.
I do the same thing. I love it.
So,
and I literally, it's the #T.
Yep. But with the text replacement, it's like anything that you need, or that you type in a lot, like my home address, people ask for it all the time. And it's like, I'll just type in part of it and then it'll populate it and I don't have to type the whole thing.
Yes. Love it. Yeah. And that's definitely with how much we're on our phones all day being realtors. And I mean, and we do text a lot of the same information too. It's, yeah, that has been invaluable hack for me. Love it. So I had another question on, so you said you're doing more videos now. That's what I've been trying to do. Are you trying to make your whole page pretty much, or on Instagram? Sorry, let me clarify. Are you trying to do reels for almost every post?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I've been trying to do too.
Yeah, my reels get a lot more.
Trying to stay consistent with it and post every day. And then are you repurposing that same content and putting it on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube Shorts has been really good so far. TikTok grows organically, and then with Instagram, it's just good to stay in front of people.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing to make sure you do not do, because I learned this the hard way, and you go to Instagram jail if you do this, with their algorithm, is if you post that video on TikTok and then you bring it over and post that same video with a little TikTok thing on Instagram, they will send you straight to jail. Yeah.
I've been making mine on Instagram because I've heard that. That's a good point out. I've been making mine on Instagram, and then I'll copy the link to the reel. And there's like websites where you can just like copy paste the link to the reel, and then you can download it as a video, and then I'll post it to TikTok, YouTube Shorts. I've been going on LinkedIn and Twitter too, just because it's like 2 extra seconds to post it. But yeah, it's been good.
I'm working on my bird account. I called Twitter the bird account for many years. So
I don't focus too much on the bird account.
I don't either, but I'm working on it. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I know James Phelps on my team. He's a big LinkedIn person. He's like, very big. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's hard to keep up with, what the tone needs to be on each one. So I like you, Andy. It's for me. I just pretty much I'm focusing on Instagram and Facebook. my community is pretty active on Facebook, and I even like share a lot to Facebook groups. Because like you said, it's digital billboard, and just posting stuff is free. I mean, you can pay to boost, but even with paying for stuff, just social media in general, I love how it's so, you can see how many people viewed or engaged, stayed on your video for more than 10 seconds. Like you don't get that with billboards, or like I've done, like the little sanitizing stations at grocery stores. Yes, I feel like it's good for brand awareness, but it's just really satisfying when you know exactly how many people viewed what you posted.
It is. And it's good because you can tweak from there too.
Yeah.
You can make edits, you can make changes when you film. And like with YouTube shorts, it's interesting just seeing which ones are performing and which ones are not. And some of them hit really well and some don't. And it's like, sometimes there's no rhime or reason to it, but that's where you just consistently post.
Yeah.
And what I've done now, because I do long form and short form, what I do now is I also have a guy that's helping me break up and repurpose a lot of the long form stuff into short form videos too.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do too with my like I just spoke at a conference, and whenever I get that recording, I'll send it to my assistant to help me break that up and use little bits and pieces from it. Because I mean, it seems easy to get content put together, but once you start going through it, you're like, crap, I need to like make some more stuff. And that's I recently just hired a videographer, and we're doing like 10 videos a month. And they've been really good for me so far. So
yeah, and it's all about the big thing with this stuff is it's all about consistency, which everyone's heard 1,000 times. But
they don't all do it.
They don't do it. And the other piece with it is it doesn't substitute the work that you have to still put in. It supplements it, and it will help, but it doesn't mean just because you post something that you've done your work for the day.
Right. So do you do all of your own social media? Well, like you said, you have someone who can break up your recordings. Do you have like a social media manager like posting for you, creating captions, or you're just doing that all yourself?
That's all me.
Yeah.
And that's something that, eventually could be good to have, but they have to kind of learn my voice. And that's the kind of thing that to me, it's like, it's my baby, and maybe someone would be better than me. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that my ego's too, like we all got big egos, but I'm not saying that mine's too big that I won't let someone help. It's just, I'm scared to let someone help with that.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's a normal, fear that we all go through, and it's hard to delegate that, especially when your followers know your voice so well.
Right.
So I can definitely relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
You also got to meet, when you went to EXPCon, the guy, Levi, that does all the YouTube videos, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did
you go to EXPCon this year?
I did.
I wish I got to meet you. Shoot.
Yeah, it was my first ever like real estate conference, because I never went when I was at KW.
Yeah.
And so I basically was just a fly on the wall, just kind of walking around, listening to different things, getting into whatever meetings and dinners and things I could go to, and just essentially being a sponge. So next year I can actually plan and have a real plan of attack for the event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, I'm hoping to make it. Hopefully we will not be opening anything. Right now we're opening those 3 bars, so it's consuming our life.
Yes. That's so awesome though. It'll be worth it. And especially when you Casey, I told Casey she's gonna open Turkey and Jordan EXP.
Yeah.
I'm working hard on that, girl. We're sending out emails to agents left and right now.
I love it. That's awesome.
Starting those conversations. And I told Adam's sister, if I can get at least 5 appointments in a month, I'm on the first flight out of here, and I can stay with her for a week. I'll fly there for a week and then come back. So,
well, maybe I'll just tag along for fun.
Sure, that'd be fun. You can help me. I mean, let's tag team. Andy, you want to come? You can be our videographer.
Yeah.
Sounds like a blast.
So, I guess so do you think your social media was the number one thing that helped you level up in your real estate business?
I think it helped, kind of like I had alluded to earlier, I think it helped boost credibility
Yeah.
quicker than just referrals. But that being said, it's like, if you think about it, you help someone buy a house, then their friends are talking to them and they say, hey, you should call Andy. And they go, okay, well, who is this guy? And they go, look at his Instagram right here. Like, this is the guy. Like,
yeah, that's how we all talk
credibility
now.
quick.
Yeah.
Right. It instead of having a resume, it's like, it's my resume.
Yeah. I love that. Digital resume.
It's a digital resume. It's a digital billboard. It's everything you could ever want.
Yes.
I like
But
that.
the other thing too, real quick, that I would bring up on that note is the broke agent and all those guys talk about it a lot over at Broke Agent Media, which is not pigeonholing yourself to one platform.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as Instagram decides that you're done, you're done. And if they shut you down for 2 weeks and you don't have any other platform that you can kind of lean in on, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So until you get that verification,
or if you
badge,
get like hacked or something, I feel like so many people are getting hacked these days. It's nuts.
There's also a difference between getting hacked and having a fake account.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of fake accounts out there, and I've had a couple that they'll DM all kinds of people and they'll talk about crypto and everything. Then I'll have a conversation with someone and they'll go, "Oh yeah, it was great talking to you last week about crypto stuff." I'm like, no.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think
Like,
people actually fell for that. No.
I mean, it's a real human that's talking, or some kind of great AI that's talking to people and suckering them in. I mean, it's scary.
You're like, I'm a realtor. I want you to put your money in real estate, not crypto. Like, come on.
Right.
Especially, it's not doing very great either. So,
yeah.
So I guess besides social media, is there anything you can talk to that, again, like hacks, tips, tricks that helped you level up in your business?
I would say another thing that I did. So like all of the social media stuff is the underlying help with building the business.
Yeah.
The big piece that I really took to was networking. And so my goal when I first started was never to be home for dinner and trying to book a dinner meeting, drinks meeting, lunch meeting, and coffee meeting every single day.
I love that. That's awesome. I'm gonna post that one.
Yeah, it was basically, the idea was I wanted to be home as little as possible, and I wanted to have. I can't cook, so and I don't really enjoy cooking. So to me, it was like, I need to go out to dinner every night, and I need to be with a potential client or a vendor partner or someone in the real estate space that can either help me learn about building the business or help me actually build the business. So that way it's worth it. I can write it off and I don't have to cook.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
And I don't have to cook. I guess it's a little different for people who have kids and families and stuff. But even so, like, book lunch meetings, do Zoom meetings, same thing, or get your kids involved in volunteering with you, or I guess that would probably be the only, or go to like family friendly events and run into people.
Yeah, or go.
And if you don't have a meeting, do you regular at a certain coffee shop or a certain like restaurant? Brewery? Mm-hmm.
There's a couple. I go to a couple different breweries all the time. There's a couple cocktail lounges that I go to all the time that when I sit down, it's like the owner knows who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And there's power in that, because then when you bring a potential client, it is very powerful when you sit down and they start, the owner or whoever it is starts talking to you because they know you. And that's where some of these guys will say to go to, like, if you want to pick up high-end clients or whatnot, find a nice bar or a nice steakhouse in town and go sit at the bar and have a cocktail every single day for 30 days, every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
or like a country club or something.
Exactly. Now that can get expensive. So then the next best would be find like a coffee shop in a very good part of town, even if it's a Starbucks, and just go there every single day at 7:30 in the morning and just sit and have a cup of coffee, sit on your computer, or just hang out, use your phone a little bit, sit there, get ready to chit chat with some people. A cup of coffee is a lot cheaper than a cocktail. And and it's also a different time, right? So if you got a family and kids or whatever, like maybe going to get a cocktail every single day isn't in the cards, but you can go get a cup of coffee because you drop kids off at school and then you go sit at a coffee shop.
Yeah. Or and that made me think about I think it was maybe Sirhan's book or YouTube video. I want to say it was one of his books though, where he said when he was getting into real estate, he joined Equinox, the gym, and he killed two birds with one stone. He'd go get his workout in, but at the same time he was networking with higher end clients because it was Equinox, of course. So
it's
even
true. I mean,
the gym.
So when I first got into real estate, I was part of a gym here in Charlotte that was $10 a month. It was a few blocks from where I lived, had everything I needed. I didn't really care. One of my clients gave me so much crap for going there because he said, if I wanted to level up and get better clients, you need to fish where the big fish are. And so you need to go to a better gym. So I canceled my gym membership there and went to a much nicer gym in Uptown. Never really met anyone there, but then I joined another gym recently, like about a year ago, and I ran into a referral partner this morning and a client of mine who's bought a house, helps me with some commercial stuff locally.
Can't hear you. Check your Clubhouse app.
I think you're muted.
Well, he's not muted.
It says it's working.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
There we go. Okay,
I can hear you.
back.
Okay.
I was like, wow, it's getting good.
Okay, so you joined this new gym and you left us hanging. Cliffhanger.
And that was great, right? So I joined this new gym, and like literally even this morning, I ran into a referral partner of mine who sent me some business. I ran into a commercial broker that I do some business with locally who I've helped with buying a house, and his girlfriend is buying a house. And it's like, you never know who you're going to run into, but you want to make sure you're fishing where the big fish are, where you can run into these people.
100%.
And so even another example of that was about a year ago, I decided that within reason on domestic flights, I'm going to start flying first class and paying extra to fly first class, because I want to sit next to the people who, if I start talking to them, they're probably either high up in business, travel a lot, or have discretionary income to be able to sit in first class.
Mm-hmm. And it's
which
like
means
some
they
of
probably
those,
buy better houses.
some of those conversations you have on an airplane. I mean, I've had such memorable and weird, like small world interactions. I don't know what it is about the airplane, but yeah, I don't blame you for that. That's a good one too.
Mm-hmm. It's like if you're paying $400 for a flight and it ends up being $550 to sit first class, it's like it's a no-brainer. Or $600 because it's like you can have some interesting conversation and you get some drinks.
You never know. You may pick up $1 million buyer there. You just never know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and especially Andy, I don't know if you've heard of this. We had another EXP agent on, Olivier Mevalek. He is a French guy, born in France, but lives in Dallas now. Him and his mom have a team, and they started this certification called a Global Marketing Agent Certification. And basically, they did the work to have an attorney draft up paperwork where we can actually, and this is only for EXP agents, we can actually list properties anywhere in the world. I mean, and I can send you more info on that, but just knowing that, even if the person's not in Charlotte, or I guess in North Carolina or South Carolina where you're licensed, basically with the certification, it's almost like co-listing with someone in that area, and they also have to have the certification. But the certification it took me 2 hours to get, and I did it on like Saturday night in bed. Like it's very easy to do. It's basically just learning the contracts and the legal background behind it, because it's like very unheard of for what we do. but just I think thinking about the airplane situation, it could be someone from anywhere. And, if you make this great connection and they know, like, and trust you, that could be a huge listing potentially, especially for someone sitting in first class. So just a little EXP plug there, but that's why we joined, and that's why we love it. It's always, we're on the forefront, fastest growing brokerage in the world and doing crazy things that other brokerages aren't doing, like a metaverse. And even Sirhan is I heard he's going to be using Verbella, which is who EXP, they're like part of EXP World Holdings. I'm pretty sure he's going to be using Verbella to make a metaverse for Sirhan. So, and
I know
that's
he started
we're the
working on
first
that.
ones to do that.
Yeah. And he's the second.
Yep. Sorry, Ryan. But yeah, I thought I'd plug that in, just since you are doing that with the plane stuff. So I can send you more info on that if you want me to. But
Sure.
yeah, this has been a great clubhouse. I'm looking to see if we have any other questions. Casey, did you have any other questions for Andy?
Not right now. I love his little plug about always getting out of the house. And there was another one he told me when we first started talking about.
And he has great branding. Like, he's got his logo behind him for the videos. Obviously, his Instagram is branded super well with the orange.
Yes.
So. Killing it.
If you're not following him, you definitely should. His page is definitely interesting. We have a few minutes. I wanted to ask you to do this, Andy. Will you tell us what a day in your life looks like, since you are one of the top producers in Charlotte and you're 40 under 40 and you're like all these,
please.
And I'm dropping and breaking things. And I wanted to ask you this a few minutes ago, and then I'll ask something else. So
there is no consistent day in the life, that's for sure. The only thing that's consistent is the alarm goes off at 5 o'clock and I'm walking into the gym when the sun is still down. So I try to get to the gym first thing in the morning. That's my me time. That's the time that, some friends are up and we'll text and whatnot, but no one is conducting business. And so when I'm on the treadmill or warming up or cooling down from the workout, I'll start firing off emails, because it's okay if you can get some emails in the morning, but it's also when I'm not getting bothered. And so I do like firing off some of those emails early. I'll get home, make a cup of coffee, I'll wake my girlfriend up if she's not already at the gym, and I'll take the dog for a walk and then start working. And so by that point, it's like I'm ready for work. I've already gotten a lot of different things done. It's 8 o'clock in the morning and still haven't gotten the first phone call yet. And so usually around like 8:30 is when the phone starts ringing, depending on the day. Ideally, I try not to book meetings where I have to travel anywhere before like 10 a.m. just because I like to make sure that I can catch up on anything that I missed from the night before first thing in the morning, because otherwise it just gets hectic. I mean, I wish that there was a way for me to check and see on average, but I would bet on average I get thousands of text messages.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because
I'm like, I wonder if there is a way. That should be a new like iOS feature.
Yeah, and so I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb 24/7. Phone calls come through and that's it. But I'm way too ADD, so like if my phone is popping up, I have it on Do Not Disturb, and I have focus mode on, which means that when your phone is open, nothing pops up either, except for calendar invites. That's the only thing that I'll let come through and get pushed through so that I don't miss anything.
Nice.
So
that's another good little hack.
I like that. So this is why
that way I'm basically going to coffee meetings.
Yeah,
I'll go meet with a builder. I'll go on a listing appointment if I need to. Like it could be a day full of meetings that are all over town. And if that's the case, then I'll make sure I have my driver for the day.
Right.
If it's a couple meetings here and there around town or a lot of Zoom calls and things, then obviously I'm sitting right here and I'm just working and I'm on the phone all the time. And I have to charge my phone about 3 times a day. I have a brand new phone, and I have to charge my AirPods all the time because these things are in my ears all the time.
Yes.
And then usually there's some kind of a lunch meeting or a luncheon.
You said you had a driver now. When did you get that?
About a year ago.
About a year ago.
I use them a couple times a month. Like it's not like it's every day. It's not all day. It's only when I really need it, and I feel like I'm gonna get behind if I am just if it's a day where my only time that I can work is in between meetings. That's when I get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. I
So
love that.
But
that's a good,
but
because
then
I know we've been thinking about it, Hallie. So,
Mhm.
and that's a way not to put them on. Do you just pay them monthly or do you pay them per drive,
per hour.
per hour? Okay.
So if he shows up at 9 and I'm using him till 6 o'clock, I'll pay for the 9 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Okay.
But then like
Back to
coming
your
into the
day.
afternoon, basically it's get back from a lunch meeting or go on some showings, usually more conference calls or Zoom calls, and then getting ready for some kind of a dinner or event or both. There are some nights where I'll have three. I mean, like literally Friday night, I went to a launch party I went to pick up a client who was in town, went to a launch party for a townhome community for a builder that I've got 3 active deals going with right now. Then went to dinner with the rabbi in town. He hosted a big dinner with like 50 people. And then went straight from there to one of my best friend's birthday parties and was out with them. So
Nice.
it was 3 events in one night. And that happens pretty frequently where there's 2 or 3 events. And my goal is when I get invited to events to not say no.
Yeah.
So
Does your Saturdays and Sundays look like this, or do they vary?
they vary. They're either jam-packed or there's nothing. So, and when it's nothing, it's a little scary, but it's kind of nice sometimes.
I know.
I know, right? Like,
Like
I'm waiting on
those
those nothing
days
Saturdays
more.
and Sundays. They won't
Yeah.
come until after this event next week and after we get these bars open in February. But when they do come, we're going to go on vacation. So.
But yeah, I mean, like today, for example, I got up at 5. I had already had my cup of coffee and everything by about 7:30 in the morning. I had 8:30. I had to prep for. I have a new client that I needed to work on some stuff for, like a big client. 9 o'clock, some more prep for the day. 10 o'clock, the phone started ringing. 10:30, I had a conference call with a new client. 11 o'clock, I had a conference call with a builder representative. 12 o'clock, I had a lunch. 1 o'clock was a Zoom call. 2 o'clock was a contract review for new construction contract we're putting together. I missed my 2:15 call. 3 o'clock, I had another conference call. 4 o'clock, I had to leave for showing. 5 o'clock, I had an inspection recap phone call. And then I took I took a listing lead that's sitting on a Post-it note right now. And then here we are. And then I'm going to have dinner and hopefully relax.
Yes.
Yep, you deserve
I
it
know
after
you
that
do.
day.
I really appreciate you hopping on here. Like I said, Andy, I told Allie I always get so much from you. So
Yes, this was
I hope
awesome.
you
You
get
dropped
things from
some
me too as
awesome
well, but-
gems.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this has been great. I'm glad we got to do this. And I love doing stuff like this. So I really appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. And yeah, we'll be on next Monday, I believe. I did get
Now you have Clubhouse.
confirmation.
You can hop on every now and then if you're in the car. So
Yes, yeah, please. Yeah. Next week we're gonna have on Adam Johnson, who is actually my husband is real estate investor and builder, and he just went out to Mississippi and met with this guy and said it was the smartest real estate investor he had ever worked with. So he's going to come on and talk about creative financing and how we're going to be able to use that as real estate agents as an extra, just tool in our pocket going into this market shift and recession. So it's going to be a good one. And again, 5:30 Central Time. Oh, do you want to plug Haas again? Haas's event?
I did. And next Wednesday, I actually just filled up 5 more seats. Andy, I'm holding your seat. If you can make it, then you 100%. You're good.
Okay.
But they are filling up fast. Like this is
Awesome.
an opportunity. It's like a once kind of thing that you're going to want to jump on, because I don't know when he'll be coming back here. And normally he won't step in a room unless there's minimum 1,000 people. And it would probably cost you $3,000 to $5,000 just to see him. So.
And I'm going to plug, if you want to connect with Andy, we've got his website in our link tree, but I'm also going to put his Instagram up on here.
Yes, follow him.
This is the right one, right, Andy?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool.
And watch his YouTube video. It's on there when he went and met Ryan. So,
That's what I'm about to do while I make dinner.
It's still one of my favorite videos.
so
Yeah, that would be mine too.
That time when you went up there. So he gave me a
Awesome.
shout out to Ryan. So
I did.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Andy, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. I hope everybody else has a great Thanksgiving as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Hope you guys do too.
See you guys next week. So
Woo. Thank you again, Andy. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.